Few teenagers wake up in the morning eager to go to school, but in some households, mornings involve a constant battle, and that's why we're having this discussion today on how to handle teenagers' school refusal. Parents may struggle to get their teenagers out of bed or have to decide for the 100th time if their ailment is real. While some teenagers are motivated by threats of not being promoted to the next grade or being charged with truancy, others don't care or are even hostile. In some extreme instances, the teenagers may refuse going to school or skip altogether. School refusal can, put parents in a real pickle. On the other hand, it's your responsibility as a parent to ensure that your child attends school. Yet, on the other hand, there can be legitimate mental or physical reasons they do not want to attend. Unfortunately, by the time they are teens, there's no carrying them, to school as if they are toddlers. And often, these adolescents do not immediately share what, the concerns or the problems might be. So how can we address school refusal without making it a constant battle? And that's why we're having this discussion today. So what is school refusal and why does it happen? I did my research. More than 1 in 4 students in the US missed 10% or more of school in 2024. In England, 20% of pupils in 2023 and 2024 were persistently absent. In Scotland, surprisingly, 31% of pupils in 2023 and 2024 were persistently absent. In Wales, 30% of school-aged pupils in 2023 and 2024 were persistently absent. And then in Northern Ireland, it was 28% of pupils who were persistently absent. As parents, it's important we understand the difference between academic burnout and school refusal. While as parents, we do not want to reward our teenagers who simply don't feel like going to school, sometimes all they need is time to reset. Stress and anxiety can lead to physical ailments or even larger mental ones. So taking a day off, may serve as a pressure relief valve, allowing your teenager to relax and recharge. A child psychologist says, I think all of us, whether we're kids or adults, require days off to do nothing and take care of ourselves. He also said that I wish mental health days were treated the same as days of physical illness. Do you agree? Do you agree to that? School refusal is different from a teen who will not want to go to school because they didn't study for their test. And most kids don't want to go to school once in a while. I think they will like that. But kids with what we experts call school refusal has a lot of very extreme anxiety about going to school. Your child may have school refusal if they often try very hard to avoid school and get extremely upset about going. So these are the signs: extremely upset about going. Kids with school refusal may also feel sick a lot, and regular visits to the GP. While it is true that some game playing might be involved, it's important to understand that school refusal is not the same as playing hooky. Isn't driven by the allure of having fun outside of school, but rather by an aversion to school itself. Of course, we can't help if we don't understand the why. Why, do our teenagers why don't they want to go to school? It's important to show curiosity rather than anger, get them talking, be prepared for resistance. They might not just want to admit their reason. You may also feel like your teenager is being lazy or unmotivated, but dig deeper. Some adolescents may be embarrassed that they are struggling, since it appears everyone else, has it all together, while others may have undiagnosed mental or emotional illness. Communication is critical. So they need to know that we are on their side, even if our goals seem to be at odds. And here are some reasons. I'm going to list them out. Middle school or high school students may not want to go to school. Bullying, feeling unsafe, social anxiety, academic pressure from teachers and parents, learning difficulties, ADHD, fear of catastrophic events, such as school shooting, weather, mental health issues, anxiety, depression, eating disorder, and sometimes problems at home, financial instability, grief over a loved one, DV in the home between parents. This can be some of the reasons. So my main focus here is how can parents help their teenagers, with school refusal? The first thing to do is to address bullying. High school and middle school kids can be brutally critical and jaw-dropping mean. While some schools have policies in place to address and prevent it, bullying often happens where adults can witness it. So like in the bathroom, in the bus, online, and victims are often reluctant to report, incidences due to feeling embarrassed or fear. If you discover that your child has been bullied, act immediately. If provide them with a script to help them respond, and consider practicing this in much the same way you would help them prepare for a job interview. So like role playing. In some serious cases, involve the school, involve the police. Involve the school or police. Bullying is a serious case. The second thing to do is keep tabs on their academics. Many parents start to scale back their involvement in their child's academic in the middle and high school. No, that's the time to focus. But if your preteen or teen starts refusing to go to school, it's a time to touch base with their teachers. And discuss any academic issues. While many kids are diagnosed in elementary grades, some spend years masking symptoms of ADHD, or other disorders. So executive function, challenges may first appear or become more pronounced as assignments become more independent and less structured. This also may be the first time that some students struggle with academics, impacting their confidence, their self-image. So parents, we have a part to play here. We can help by, either supplying them organization tools, offering them tips, or seeking additional support from the school, or academic services, or getting them a tutor. Yeah, we can do that. Get them a tutor. The third one is help them set goals. As our children begin to grow, and they begin to thrive in school, they may feel like they lose purpose and there's no point in attending. Some teenagers need concrete evidence that school will benefit them. So begin to show them people, begin to show them things, talk about their goals and what steps will help them achieve it. If they have a clear career goal, talk about what they need to do to get there. For most, some level of education success is necessary, or at the very least will make it easier to reach their goal. So if your teen has no career plans, talk about what they want their adult life to look like. What sort of house, how would you afford it? What sort of car would you like to drive? How would you manage your life? What do they want to do with their free time? How much money will they need to achieve these goals? And what sort of job will provide them with this. So these are the conversations that we'll begin to have with our children when they have the struggle. And the fourth one is prioritize their mental health. Emotional and mental health issues can show up in many ways, including school refusal. So if you believe your adolescent child is dealing with a mental health issue, contact your physician, or a licensed medical health provider as soon as possible. But in the interim, focus more on your child's mental health than forcing them to attend school. This can help you and your teenager, even identify what they're experiencing, any triggers and potential solutions together. Helping your teenager establish a routine can help them manage their anxiety about going to school, such as incorporating relaxation techniques in the day, helping them develop a clear and consistent schedule, and securing trusted adults. Your teen can approach school when help, is needed. The fifth one is encourage healthy tech boundaries. Excessive technology use, such as playing video games for hours at a time, scrolling through social media, watching mindless videos, as a coping mechanisms to numb emotion, negative emotions can have a detrimental impact on our teenage, emotional well-being. So consider sitting down with your children from time to time and, assessing how much time they spend on tech, and more importantly, what they are using it for. We all understand that not all tech usage is bad, but it's important that we know what they are using it for. My next video will be on setting tech rules for our preteens and teens. The fifth one is help them manage stress. School can be stressful. So help, issues such as academic pressure, challenging course load, social media, vaping, friendship, relationship drama, peer pressure can be tough to navigate. So parents can help their children manage everyday stress by, offering effective coping skills for teenagers. That's another video that I owe you guys, coping skills for teenagers. So everyone can benefit from having a toolbox to pull out this, coping mechanisms from. So suggest several, ideas to your teenager. It doesn't hurt to start with even younger children if you have them now, and practice them before they are needed. Point out that you sometimes use them as well, And then the last one will be consider consulting your GP, to determine further, interventions if necessary. So if your child or your preteen or your teen is struggling, with school attendance, or doesn't want to go to school, I hope that this can help you, give you more insight on what you need to do or what you need to look out for. And I hope this video has been helpful to you. So don't fail to subscribe, like, drop me a comment, let me know if it was helpful to you. And like I said, I owe you 2 more videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again. Bye.